This week's Torah portion called Bo is all about the moment when Moshe Rabbeinu goes to confront Pharaoh and declare to him, Shalach et ami v'yavduni, let my people go and let them worship me. And in the first two Pesukim, that is the first two sentences of this week's Sidra, we find two difficult phrases, one more so than the other. The first difficult phrase is God telling Moses that he has hardened Pharaoh's heart. And the second phrase is the rationale behind it. We believe that every human being has free will and can make their own determination for the present and the future. We believe that every individual has the power to make the choice, the decision that is theirs alone to make, about the path that they will choose, about what choices they will make for themselves, for good or for ill, for kindness or for evil. And here we find God hardening Pharaoh's heart, which runs absolutely contrary to everything that we believe and philosophically know and have been taught and believe and have come to accept. So how is it that God can harden someone's heart to make them intransigent? One possible answer is that God did not make it impossible for Pharaoh to do teshuvah. God never blocks the way entirely for any individual to do anything. Perhaps making obstacles in the way, making it difficult for them to make choices because God knows the nature of people. God knows the predilection of Pharaoh, and therefore he decides to harden his heart to make it even more difficult for him to release the Jewish slaves. But that, I don't think, really hits the nail on the head. I think what really does it is the next problem that arises in the text. God says, Lama'an shiti ototai, because I'm going to put my miracles in their midst, Bekir Bo, in his midst, that they will know. And one of the great commentaries looks at this phrase and reads the following behind it, the Baal Turim, and says, what this really means is that God was using this moment to transform the hearts of the people that he wanted to ultimately become his. You see, the Jewish nation had been so ingrained in slavery. The Hebrews had so lost so much of their personal identity that he wanted this moment to be instilled in their hearts, engraved on their souls as a defining moment that they would never forget. Bekir Bo, in their midst. And if this phrase is not enough to drive home the point that God wanted to so harden Pharaoh's heart for a single-minded purpose, then the second pasuk will define it more clearly when he says, Lema'an again, tisapir ba'oznei bincha, when you will go to your children and you will tell the story. This story time and again throughout the generations. It is a mitzvah to describe Yetziat Mitzrayim, to tell the story of the liberation from Egypt every day of a person's life. Fulfilling this idea found in the second pasuk, that you should tell into your child's ear the story of what happened. Why should you do so? Because it has already become ingrained in your consciousness, and now you want to transfer that miraculousness of God's oneness, God's power, God's strength, God's liberation from generation to generation. No one should ever expect God to intervene in their life every moment. No one should expect God to intervene so that our lives should be comfortable or not without pain, not taking into consideration the fact that illness is a part of life, but rather that miracles do happen, but the greatest miracle of all is our acceptance of something that we have been told from our parents and from our grandparents and our great-grandparents, the great defining, concretized moment when God said, I'm doing this for two reasons, hardening Pharaoh's heart. One, Bekir Bo, so it should be engraved in your heart, and number two, you'll never forget it. You'll pass it on from generation to generation. So it is, so it was, and so it shall be. Shabbat Shalom.